I could just listen to Poitier talk about anything. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. As part of my coverage of the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2022 Apple TV Plus biographical documentary, Sidney. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Sidney features Sidney Poitier, Oprah Winfrey, and Denzel Washington, and was directed by Reginald Hudlin. Using archival footage, interviews, and film clips, it explores Sidney Poitier's life, films, and legacy. Last year at TIFF, I saw a half dozen or so documentaries, but Sidney was my only one this year. I have a tendency to like documentaries, but I also find them more challenging to review than fictional narrative films. They both need the same things: an engaging story, good editing, strong cinematography, but for some reason, documentaries always feel more interest-driven, more dependent on their subjects. Luckily, as a film fan, this particular subject was a compelling one for me. I've always been a fan of Sidney Poitier's films, so I was looking forward to seeing what insight this documentary had to offer. From a biographical standpoint, Sidney is a fairly good overview of Poitier's life, spanning from his early years on Cat Island in the Bahamas to his late life accomplishments, such as being awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Although touching on events across 80 or so years, most of the focus is on Poitier's film career. Its origins, the groundbreaking roles he played, and of course, the lasting impact and legacy. As somebody who only knew the general basics of Poitier's life, I found the biographical aspects of this film to be informative, but I suspect there probably isn't much new information here for big fans. Instead, this documentary will function more as a tribute. It's exceptionally positive and praising, and a bit of a hagiography, really, which feels suitable enough, but will bother those looking for something that dives a bit deeper. It briefly touches on some of the less than squeaky clean aspects of Poitier's life, affairs and the like, but breezes past them quickly in favor of highlighting his positive legacy. Sidney is a well-constructed and engaging documentary. It doesn't revolutionize the medium, but it's not just an endless series of talking heads either. Instead, it provides audiences with a good mixture. It utilizes archival and home video footage from many of the biographical sections, incorporates plenty of film clips when highlighting Poitier's acting and directing careers, and also interviews dozens of people who were close to or impacted by Poitier. This included some interesting insight by members of his family, as well as stories, memories, and praise by others in the film and TV business, such as Oprah Winfrey, Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington, Spike Lee, and Barbra Streisand. The best interviews, however, were with Sidney himself. This is a posthumously released film, but there's a pleasantly surprising number of interviews with the subject himself. A handful of these were archival interviews, but the driving narrative of the documentary was structured around more recently filmed late-life interviews. It isn't some biographer that tells us about Poitier's childhood, it's Poitier that tells us. His stories and thoughts, remembering the specific events and people that shaped his values and the trajectory of his life and career, even the surprising inspiration for his precise accent. The other interviewees heap on the praise and admiration, but Poitier speaks of himself and his experiences with measured and modest honesty. Listening to his storytelling, and of course that voice of his, is easily the highlight of the film. Sidney might not be the most extensive biographical account, but as an introduction and a tribute to one of the most influential actors of all time, it certainly gets the job done. Hearing from the man himself elevates the biographical portions, and then hearing from the others solidifies the legacy side of things. Even through the changing times and beliefs of the decades, Poitier's contributions to cinema were groundbreaking, and this film is certainly able to convey that sentiment. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is Sidney Poitier. This might seem like the most obvious statement, but it's true on two different levels. As the subject of the documentary, he's an inspiring and interesting focal point. For a film lover, just listening to people talk about his movies or hearing about the wide-reaching impact he had on so many people is a joy. But beyond being the subject of the documentary, he's also a major source of information, providing insightful interviews and voiceover for big chunks of the film. This segues nicely into the second pro, the storytelling. There are interviews with quite a few people whose lives were touched by Poitier, and several of them, such as Oprah, Denzel Washington, and Barbra Streisand, share stories about their interactions with him. But the best storytelling comes from Poitier himself. It surely comes as no surprise, but listening to him recount his childhood memories, tales of friendship and love, and even on-set backstories is incredibly engaging. On the con side, this documentary is certainly a touch hagiographical. It functions more as a tribute and accomplishment overview than an in-depth biographical tell-all. That's not something that I personally minded all that much, but the film does seem to conveniently breeze over some of the more unsavory biographical elements, or not mention them at all. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying any of the films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Sidney 3.5 out of 5 paws. It's an engaging, if idolizing, portrait of Poitier's life, films, and legacy, elevated by Poitier's own words and storytelling skills. I would recommend Sidney to fans of Poitier or people interested in learning about his legacy. Big fans will likely already know the biographical elements of this film, but will probably appreciate hearing his stories in his own words. Poitier newbies will be provided with a decent biographical overview of his start and success in film, and come away with a better understanding of the impact that he had on not only thousands of individuals, but cinema as a whole. If you liked Sidney, I would recommend In the Heat of the Night. There's so many great Poitier films to choose from, but this one remains one of his most impactful and iconic. If you were intrigued by the discussion of his comedic turn while behind the camera as director, you should check out Stir Crazy. And if you're interested in another documentary about a beloved entertainer, you might want to watch Won't You Be My Neighbor, which explores the life and career of Mr. Rogers. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Sidney? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, which actor would you like to see a documentary made about? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insider information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.